Most people believe that the more they chase money, the closer they get to wealth. But the truth is exactly the opposite. The more you chase money, the more it slips away, and the poorer you feel inside. And maybe that's already happened to you. You work harder, get more exhausted, earn a little more, but the feeling of lack stays the same. It's as if each effort leaves you more tired, more anxious, and less in control of your own life. And there's a reason for that, one that almost no one notices. Real wealth doesn't come from the hustle. It comes from clarity, building, and emotional strategy. Truly wealthy people don't wake up thinking, how do I make more today? But rather, how do I create value that lasts? And if you stick with this until the end, you'll understand exactly why chasing money pushes you further away from wealth, and what mindset actually makes money start working for you. Why does chasing money get in the way of real wealth? Think about it. Nothing throws you off the path to wealth more than a blind obsession with earning more. Most people grew up hearing that a high income is the same as prosperity, but that leads to a dangerous behavior. You start measuring your worth by your next paycheck. Morgan Housel puts it simply and bluntly. Real wealth isn't the money that comes in, it's the money that stays. The more you chase it, the more you spend trying to compensate for the burnout. And in the end, you're left busy, tired, and always feeling like something's still missing. The problem becomes even clearer when we look at the science. Research on the overjustification effect shows that when a person focuses too much on external rewards, like money, their intrinsic motivation drops drastically. This effect has been documented in behavioral psychology experiments since the 1970s, when groups were paid to complete simple tasks and later lost all natural interest in the activity. In other words, when you turn everything into immediate gain, you sabotage your own drive to grow. And without growth, sustainable prosperity doesn't exist. Now here's a practical detail. To know whether you're chasing money or building wealth, run a quick checklist. First, what's your real why? If the answer is just to make more, be careful. That's a scarcity mindset. Second, are you selling hours or building leverage? People who trade time for money can't scale. Third, how much of your daily energy goes into assets that work while you sleep? These three questions reveal whether you're actually creating value or just burning yourself out faster. And here's something many people learn too late. I met an engineer who took a job with a 40% higher salary. On paper, it looked like a step forward. In practice, the new role stole his time, drained his energy, and destroyed any sense of freedom. 2 months later, he admitted the raise had cost him his peace. That's the hidden price of chasing money. You lose control over your own life, and the supposed reward becomes a burden. The financial elite sees the game completely differently. They know money is a result, not a direction. Millionaires who thrive for decades don't wake up thinking, how do I make more today? But rather, what system can I improve? What problem can I solve better than anyone else? What skill can I develop to multiply value? This shift in focus, from income to value, keeps motivation strong, preserves mental clarity, and creates a continuous growth cycle. And here's the insight few people understand. When you stop chasing money, you start attracting opportunities. Your mind switches from survival mode to strategy mode. You gain calm, you gain vision, and you gain control. 3 key elements of an elite mindset. Money follows logic, not desperation. When you operate with purpose, discipline, and a focus on creating value, the results appear naturally and consistently. Wealth is a side effect of self-control. Redefining being rich. From the visible to the invisible. Most people still measure wealth by what's visible: cars, houses, vacations, expensive things. That creates a dangerous illusion because it turns money into decoration, not freedom. Psychology calls this a frame, the mental lens that shapes what you value. Morgan Housel sums it up perfectly. Wealth is what you don't see. In other words, the more you show off, the less you truly own. The wealthy understand this and play a completely different game. A classic study from the book The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and William Danko analyzed hundreds of American millionaires over several years. The results shocked the public at the time. Most drove modest cars, lived in average neighborhoods, and avoided visible status symbols. The researchers compared spending habits, debt, and net worth, and found that the wealthiest were, in practice, the least flashy. These findings flip the traditional logic. Real wealth happens quietly. Now think about something practical. If no one could see your lifestyle, what would still have value for you? A good example is building invisible assets: human capital, free time, mental health, network of connections. Try a simple exercise. Write down 3 assets that no one sees, but that increase your opportunities. Then assign an emotional and financial value to each. That kind of clarity changes your daily decisions because you stop prioritizing what impresses and start prioritizing what sustains. The curious thing is that most people don't notice the psychological cost of living to prove something. Every purchase made to impress others creates emotional dependency and fuels the moving target, that endless cycle of always needing more to look like more. But high performance works in the opposite direction. It conserves energy, money, and focus for what actually builds freedom. Few people understand this, but those who do grow faster and with far less effort. When you shift your focus away from the visible, you start noticing advantages that used to go unnoticed. You make decisions more calmly because you're not competing in a game of appearances. You save mental energy because you don't need to perform for anyone. This mental pattern reduces financial anxiety and boosts clarity. And gradually, you realize that true wealth is an internal state of stability, not an external parade of achievements. The point is simple. The world rewards those who prioritize the invisible. Productivity, discipline, autonomy, knowledge, and solid emotional management. All of these build real wealth, even if no one sees it happening. While many spend to look rich, the rich invest to stay free. The result? Quiet, consistent, and inevitable growth. When you shift the frame from having to being, your financial path stops depending on external approval and starts being guided by purpose. Value mindset versus income mindset. Many people spend half their lives chasing higher salaries, only to realize too late that this game has a ceiling. I met a guy who did exactly that. He left a stable job for one that paid more, but it drained all his time. It wasn't until he started a small business, smaller, less glamorous, but based on value, that he understood the difference. His net worth grew, he regained control, and for the first time, he felt free. It wasn't the money that changed his life, it was the shift in focus to value. The point is this: the questions you ask before making decisions define your future. People stuck in an income mindset always ask, how much does this pay me right now? But those with a value mindset ask, what problem does this solve? What impact do I create? That single shift in perspective changes how you see opportunities, negotiations, and priorities. The first question limits you. The second one expands you. Here's a practical tool. Mentally repeat the model question, what value am I delivering? Every time you evaluate a project, job, partnership, or financial decision. Behavioral psychology studies show that internal questions shape behavior because they act as focus triggers. When you train yourself to seek value, your mind stops looking for shortcuts, stops acting out of anxiety, and starts building something that grows over time, something that's yours. There's also strong social proof behind this pattern. In various surveys on entrepreneurs, like in the article 7 Mindset Shifts by Vocal Media, the highest growth cases come from creators who prioritized impact and usefulness over money. It's the same principle seen in businesses that scale for decades. They solve real problems, build reputations, and deliver consistent results. Financial return shows up as a direct consequence, not as the primary goal. What most people don't realize is the paradox that destroys careers. The more someone focuses on making a lot, the more reactive their decisions become. They take shortcuts, increase stress, lose quality of life, and move further away from bigger opportunities. It's the classic quick gain cycle. It looks like an advantage at first, but it costs you in the long run. Focusing on income creates anxiety. Focusing on value creates stability. And here's the core insight. Value generates income, but income doesn't guarantee value. When you shift your identity to someone who builds, contributes, and leads, your mind exits survival mode and enters creation mode. You start attracting better connections, better clients, and opportunities that never show up for those who only think about how much is coming in at the end of the month. This is the mindset that places you in the elite, sustainably, consistently, and intelligently. The more trap and the moving target. There's a quote by Morgan Housel that holds one of the biggest secrets to financial freedom. The biggest risk is not knowing when enough is enough. When you don't define that limit, your mind goes into an endless pursuit mode, always comparing, always running, always feeling like something's still missing. This creates a constant state of tension because the goal moves every time you get close to it. And living like this takes away exactly what wealth is supposed to give you: peace. The truth is, without a target, you work more than necessary, spend more than you realize, and chase goals that aren't even yours. That's why one simple technique can completely change the game. Define your target lifestyle. It's not about thinking small. It's about knowing what level of life gives you freedom and locking that number in. Everything above that becomes optional, not an obligation. This clarity reduces anxiety and creates mental space to think strategically. Now look at the contrast. While most people think, "How much can I earn?" high performers ask, "What level of freedom do I want to protect?" Because earning more often means sacrificing something you don't want to lose: time, health, energy, presence. When you start measuring success by freedom instead of accumulation, your decisions become smarter. You stop entering battles that aren't worth your effort. There's also a psychological mechanism that traps a lot of people: the cycle of consumption and status. As soon as income goes up, spending follows. People buy to feel better, to prove something, to keep up with their social circle. Without realizing it, they lose control of their own lifestyle and fall into the moving target trap. The more they achieve, the further away they feel. It's a draining cycle because you never actually arrive. You just change where there is. When you understand this mechanism, the feeling is liberating. You start to see that the game was never about having more. It was about having control. Those who master their own desires master their own destiny. And that doesn't mean living in scarcity. It means living with intention. You choose where to put your energy instead of letting it choose for you. Wealth is an internal construction before it's ever a number. And the moment you stop chasing and start choosing consciously, everything changes. You reduce noise, increase focus, and start feeling joy in your achievements again. Life stops being a race and becomes a craft, built with calm, strategy, and purpose. That's the path that preserves freedom, boosts performance, and puts you ahead. While most people stay stuck in the cycle of more, never understanding the real cost of it. Leverage, assets, and freedom. What to pursue instead of money. Most people spend their entire lives trading time for money, without realizing that this is the most limited model there is. A day has 24 hours, and no amount of effort can change that math. But those who truly understand wealth know that the game isn't about continuous effort. It's about leverage. Assets are exactly that. Elements that keep generating value even when you're not actively involved. Digital businesses, royalties, investments, automations. All of these expand your time instead of consuming it. Economics describes this relationship as the time times productivity frontier. When you sell hours, your income is linear. When you build assets, your income can be exponential. This is the principle observed in studies on passive income and scale effects. Systems can work for you continuously while you sleep, travel, or simply choose to rest. That's the difference between those who grow wealthy and those who just grow tired. To apply this, use a simple tool. Create a personal asset map. List 3 assets you already have: skills, connections, products, content, investments, anything that generates value. Then, write down 3 assets you can build in the next 12 months. Next to each, note how they reduce your dependence on immediate labor. This creates clarity and directs your energy toward what truly scales. And here's an insight few people notice. Assets don't just generate income, they give you autonomy. When you rely solely on your current labor, any unexpected event becomes a huge risk. But when you build independent sources of income, your life stops being a race and becomes a chessboard, and you finally play like a strategist, not a survivor. That's how freedom is created. I saw this happen to a marketing analyst who worked 60 hours a week and was constantly exhausted. One day, she started creating a small digital product on Sundays, without pressure or expectations. In 18 months, that asset was bringing in half her salary. She didn't become rich overnight, but she gained something far more rare: choice. The ability to decide when to work, how to work, and for whom to work. That's why the financial elite doesn't chase money. They chase assets. They know wealth isn't a race. It's an ongoing construction based on systems that multiply your value over time. When you focus on creating leverage and building assets, your life is no longer limited by the clock and instead becomes guided by vision. That's the path to true freedom. The role of delayed gratification and patience in wealth building. One of the strongest traits of successful people is the ability to delay gratification. This isn't just motivational theory. It's human behavior that's been measured for decades. Studies mentioned in The Psychology of Money show that individuals who delay consumption and invest consistently accumulate wealth much faster than those who spend as soon as money comes in. Researchers analyzed saving patterns, emotional decision-making, and consumption cycles, and the results were clear. Those who control impulse control the financial game, and the reason is simple. Immediate gratification gives temporary relief but carries a long-term cost. When you buy to feel something, you lose what could have multiplied. A well-known 2019 study conducted by behavioral economists in the US analyzed 2 groups. One focused on saving and investing, the other on immediate consumption. In just 12 months, the first group accumulated up to 38% more net worth, even though their incomes were similar. The difference wasn't the money, it was time. To put this into practice, use a powerful technique, the 24-hour rule. Whenever you're about to make a medium or large purchase, wait a full day before deciding. The goal isn't to save pennies, it's to regain control over impulse. Science shows that when you insert this small delay, your decision shifts from the emotional brain to the logical brain. And logical decisions build wealth. Impulsive ones build regret. The modern world, however, pushes you in the opposite direction. The culture of get rich quick, live in luxury now, and make money fast seduces those who are most vulnerable. But that path leads to debt, stress, and lost freedom, the very things that destroy long-term prosperity. The truth is harsh but real. People chasing instant results lose depth. Those who play the long game master peace, balance, and lasting wealth. The psychological key behind this is understanding that time is the most limited resource there is. Every time you trade time for immediate consumption, you're sacrificing a future that could change your life. By replacing impulsive purchases with investments, whether of money or time, you strengthen your mental pattern of prosperity. And this pattern creates a cycle. The more patience you have, the more opportunities appear. The more vision you build, the less anxiety you feel. Here's the bottom line. Patience is not passivity. It's strategy. It's observing the market, your emotions, your choices, and understanding that wealth is built in layers, slowly, consistently and invisibly. The elite plays this game without rushing, without noise, and without showing off, because they know that solid results aren't born from urgency, they come from intention. When you replace haste with purpose, your net worth grows, and your peace grows with it. Purpose, identity, and wealth. Beyond money. There's a quiet emptiness that hits many people the moment they finally reach enough. It's almost paradoxical. After years of chasing money, they get there and feel nothing. That happens because their motivation was external, not internal. When the focus is only on the bank balance, the journey loses meaning as soon as the goal is reached. But when there's purpose, every achievement becomes fuel. Your identity evolves, and life gains direction. That's why the most fulfilled individuals see money as a tool, never as the destination. Positive psychology explains this phenomenon well. Studies conducted at universities like Stanford and Penn have shown that purpose, identity, and meaning-making are strong predictors of life satisfaction. Research from 2017 involving thousands of participants explored the correlation between income, subjective well-being, and a sense of meaning. The result? Money increases comfort, but meaning increases happiness. And the two are not the same. People with clear purpose showed significantly higher levels of emotional resilience and mental clarity. To apply this in your day-to-day life, try a simple but powerful exercise. Ask yourself, if I already had all the money I need, what would I do with my time and why? Write the answer without filters, without trying to be rational. This exercise taps into a deep layer of your identity because it removes money from the equation and forces you to look at who you truly are. From that point on, financial and career decisions gain clear direction without anxiety or comparison. The contrast here is stark. While many people think wealth means turning off your brain and living relaxed, those who truly thrive know that freedom requires purpose. The elite doesn't keep building because they're greedy. They keep going because they have a mission. A doctor who continues practicing even after becoming a millionaire, an entrepreneur who reinvests after already winning, an artist who creates without needing the paycheck, they all have something in common. Their identity is tied to what they do, not to what they earn. And when that identity is aligned with purpose, a powerful inner confidence starts to grow, one that's hard to break. You make better decisions with more calm because you're not trying to impress anyone or prove anything. You choose projects that expand you, not just ones that pay you. And that creates natural, sustainable growth, far more stable than any financial race driven by anxiety or social comparison. At the end of the day, real wealth is built from the inside out. It's when money stops being a finish line and becomes a means to express who you are, what you believe, and the impact you want to leave behind. Purpose gives depth, identity gives direction, and wealth, the real kind, emerges as a result. When you live in alignment, it's not money that defines your life. It's your life that defines what you do with money.